Ever feel like you need a translator to even like understand a company's earnings?
Right.
It's dense.
Yeah.
Today we're diving into the world of core earnings. What's really driving a company's profitability and how AI is changing the game?
Yeah, those financial statements can be a little opaque sometimes.
They really can.
Yeah.
Okay, so core earnings, in a nutshell, it's about, what is it, finding the signal in the noise.
Yeah, you can think of it that way. You're trying to separate what's really going on in the business, like the wheat from the chaff. Is the company's, core business actually making money? Or are they dressing things up with like one-time gains and kind of accounting tricks?
And that's where it gets tricky, right? How do we even begin to figure that out?
Well, the traditional methods, relying solely on what analysts say or digging through mountains of data, they have their limitations.
So analyst reports, they're supposed to be the pros. What's the issue there?
Well, they are the pros, but different analysts are going to have different opinions, different approaches. It's like asking 5 chefs for their recipe for the best apple pie.
You get 5 different pies.
Exactly. Hard to compare.
Okay. And then these standardized financial databases, like CompuStat, don't they help?
They provide a lot of valuable data,
Yeah.
sure. But even those have blind spots when it comes to painting a complete picture of core earnings. There was a study recently, just this year actually, by Gardner, Sloan, and Yoon
Yeah.
that really highlighted this.
So we're trying to navigate this maze with outdated maps.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But what if we could use something more powerful?
Okay.
Something that could analyze language and context like we do. Enter AI.
Okay, AI to the rescue. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when we say AI, are we talking about those large language models, the LLMs I keep hearing
But the
about?
very same.
Okay.
You've probably even played around with ChatGPT.
Right.
That's powered by an LLM.
So instead of just crunching numbers, this AI is actually reading the words in these financial reports.
That's exactly right. It can analyze the nuances of language in ways that humans can't. It's like having an army of analysts reading every single word, flagging the important stuff.
So did somebody actually feed like a bunch of 10Ks to an AI and say, all right, show me the money, or at least the real earnings?
Essentially, yeah. Researchers wanted to see if LLMs could identify and remove, those one-time items, the financial fluff that can really obscure the true picture.
And for dramatic applause, what'd they find?
Well, 2 approaches were tested. The first one they called the lazy analyst. That was basically like giving somebody a dictionary and a 10K and saying, good luck, figure it out.
Right.
Unsurprisingly, mixed results.
Right. What about round 2?
This one is way more interesting. It's called the sequential prompt method.
Okay.
And instead of just throwing all this data at the AI, they kind of broke the task down step by step. They're like, first, identify any unusual expenses. Next, look for unusual income. Finally, tell us what's left. That's your core earnings.
So it's like giving it the treasure map instead of just dropping it in the middle of the ocean.
Exactly.
Okay.
And with those clear instructions, the results were much, much more impressive.
Okay. All right. I'm hooked. What kind of impressive are we talking? Can this be better than traditional methods?
The results were pretty astounding, actually. This AI was shockingly good at identifying and removing those really tricky non-recurring items, the things that can really,
Throw things off?
Yeah,
So better at spotting those accounting tricks even than traditional methods.
it seems that way. But here's the real kicker. The core earnings figures that the AI was coming up with,
Yeah.
they weren't just accurate, they were incredibly insightful.
Okay. Do tell. What kind of insights?
Well, for one, they were more persistent. So they showed a company's kind of consistent underlying performance, not just a snapshot in time. Like imagine trying to judge a marathon runner's skill based on a single 100-meter dash.
Right.
It doesn't give you the full picture.
A steady engine versus a sputtering flame.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
This is where it gets even more interesting. The sequential prompt method, particularly good at predicting a company's future net income.
Hold on. It could predict the future. Someone tell the stock market.
Not predicting the future, but its analysis of past data was a better indicator of future performance than some of the established methods.
Now that is powerful. If you're an investor, that's a superpower.
You said it. And there's another potential benefit here. This AI-driven approach, it could potentially sidestep some of the biases that we know can come from human analysts.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about how,
Analyst to analyst, it can be inconsistent.
Exactly. Well, this AI approach, it uses a clear set of instructions, objective criteria, could lead to more unbiased analysis.
So potentially major shift here. AI that's more accurate, more efficient, potentially even less biased.
It's certainly an exciting glimpse into the future of finance. Of course, like with any new tool, there are some important things to consider.
Okay, let's unpack that. What are some of the challenges and limitations we need to be aware of? We'll be right back. And we're back. Before the break, we were getting into kind of the exciting and maybe slightly daunting potential of AI in finance. We talked about the good. What about the not so good?
Well, one thing to remember is these AI models are impressive, but we don't always understand how they're reaching their conclusions. Unlike a human analyst, who could walk you through their reasoning,
Right.
AI can feel a little bit like a black box.
It's a little bit of leap of faith then. You got to trust it, even if you don't know how it got there.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, especially in finance, where people really want that, clear, explainable data.
Right.
It is something that developers are working on, making these models more transparent, but it's a key consideration.
Definitely. What other limitations?
Another one is the potential for bias.
Okay.
And you might think AI, it's a computer, can't be biased.
Right.
But here's the thing. These models, they learn from massive amounts of data. And that data itself can reflect existing biases in the financial system.
So garbage in, garbage out, like they say.
Exactly. If the data used to train the AI is skewed in a certain way, for example, if it's historically undervalued, like a certain type of company,
Right.
the AI might inadvertently perpetuate that bias in its analysis.
That makes sense. So it's not enough to just have the tool. You have to make sure it's getting the right information and that we understand the limitations still.
100%. That's why human oversight is still so important. We need experts who can look at the AI's findings, spot any red flags, and make sure the analysis, aligns with reality.
So it's not about replacing. It's about giving them a superpowered assistant
There you go.
to work together.
A partnership.
Yeah. This feels like we're on the edge of something big here, like a major shift in how finance works. More data-driven, more efficient, hopefully even more insightful.
Yeah, I think we're definitely at a turning point. And the exciting part is that this technology is evolving so rapidly. What we're seeing with these, core earnings experiments,
Right.
this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow.
As these models become even more sophisticated, who knows what other financial puzzles they can help us solve.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. So we talked about the potential and the pitfalls, but what about the real-world implications? Like, how might this actually change things for investors? Both like the pros on Wall Street, but also like everyday people.
Well, I think one of the most exciting possibilities is that it could really level the playing field.
Okay.
Imagine a world where small investors, independent analysts, they have access to the same powerful AI tools as the big investment firms.
Democratizing finance. I
Right.
like it.
Right.
Instead of relying on, expensive financial advisors or who knows, questionable information online, you have these AI tools to guide decisions.
Exactly. And for financial professionals, it could free them from hours of, tedious analysis.
Right.
Let them focus on the bigger picture strategy.
Less number crunching, more big ideas.
There you go.
I like it.
And here's another thought. This technology could even encourage more transparency from companies.
How so?
Well, if companies know that AI is out there, scrutinizing their every financial move, potentially flagging anything fishy,
Yeah.
they might be more inclined to play it straight with their reporting.
It's like this AI watchdog keeping everyone honest.
Potentially.
Yeah. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Although, before we get too caught up in this future run by robot analysts, let's bring it back down to earth. What are some concrete steps that investors and financial professionals can take today to prepare for this AI-driven future?
That's the million-dollar question. I think the most important thing is to stay informed.
Okay.
This field is moving so fast, you don't want to get left behind.
So dust off those old finance textbooks.
I'd recommend something a little more current, honestly. Read industry publications, follow AI experts on social media. There's tons of great resources out there just to kind of,
Stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
Keep learning,
Keep learning, yeah.
especially in this field.
Yeah, it's changing every day.
What else? Any other, practical tips?
Don't be afraid to experiment. There are already some AI-powered financial tools available, even to the public.
Okay.
Play around with them, see what kind of insights you can get. You might be surprised.
Play around with them, see what insights they can offer. You might be surprised at what you discover.
Exactly. And don't hesitate to ask questions. If you're using a tool and you don't understand something, reach out to the company or developer and get clarification.
Transparency is key, right?
Yeah.
The more we understand how these tools work, the better we'll be able to use them effectively.
Absolutely. This is a collaborative journey. Developers need feedback from users and financial experts to ensure these tools are truly meeting our needs and addressing the real-world challenges of financial analysis.
It's like we're all in this together, figuring out how to navigate this exciting new world of AI-driven finance.
That's a great way to put it.
So to recap this incredible deep dive, we've learned that AI has the potential to revolutionize how we understand and analyze core earnings. It could give us a clearer picture of a company's true performance, help us make more informed investment decisions, and maybe even hold companies accountable in ways we haven't seen before.
And it's just the beginning. There's so much potential here, but we need to proceed with a balance of excitement and caution.
Exactly. We need to be mindful of the potential pitfalls, stay informed, and always be learning. This has been a fascinating conversation, a little mind-blowing even.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be involved in the world of finance and AI.
And for our listeners, if you want to explore this topic further, be sure to check out the show notes for links to the research we discussed and other helpful resources. Until next time, happy investing.
Yeah, try out those tools and, don't be afraid to experiment a little, see what they can do. Like I was playing around with one the other day and it like gave me a whole risk breakdown for the stock I was looking at. That's great. And if something doesn't make sense, don't be afraid to ask. Reach out to the company. Get some clarification.
Yeah, transparency is key. I
Okay.
mean, if we're going to trust these tools, we got to know how they work, right?
100%. We're all figuring this out together. This whole landscape is changing so fast.
It really is.
So that feedback from users, especially, the financial experts,
Right.
that's going to be huge for developers so they can make sure these AI tools are actually useful, that they're actually addressing real world needs.
It's not man versus machine.
No,
We're all working together.
it's a collaboration, which is exciting.
It is exciting. So to wrap up this deep dive, I mean, we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to totally change how we understand, analyze core earnings, get a better picture of how a company's performing, maybe even hold them to a higher standard, make smarter decisions ourselves as investors. Pretty amazing stuff.
It really is. But like we were saying, there are some things to keep in mind. We got to be cautious. We got to stay informed as this technology keeps changing.
Exactly. Be informed, be cautious, but definitely don't be afraid to embrace the future. This has been a fascinating conversation, mind-blowing at times even.
I agree. It's a fascinating time to be in the world of finance.
Yeah.
And AI.
It really is. And to our listeners, if you want to learn even more about all of this, check out the show notes. We'll have links to the research we talked about and some of those cool AI-powered tools. Until next time, stay curious and happy investing.